A brand new spin-off Zelda title was announced last year during the Nintendo Direct E3 special. What you are watching right now is the trailer that was shown almost exactly 1 year ago at that event. All this time has passed, but yet, we haven't heard much about this particular title. That is until recently, a Japanese publication known as Famitsu Magazine released a huge multi-page article detailing several aspects of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, once again my name is Matt, and welcome to my Legend of Zelda Hyrule Warriors news update video. Now, over the past few days, a lot of new information about Hyrule Warriors was published online, including scans and a ton of gorgeous screenshots. So I thought it would be a good idea to go over everything that we know. Most of this information in this video is coming out of a translated article from Famitsu Magazine and the official Hyrule Warriors Japanese website. But without further ado, let's talk about some Zelda, shall we? Probably one of the biggest things that was released was information regarding the story of the game. Now, I'll be the first to admit, it's not as much information as I'd like, but it does whet the appetite, so to speak. Here is what we know so far. Link is a soldier in training, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say he is training to become a Hyrule Warrior. However, Zelda gets kidnapped, no surprise there, but it's not by Ganon, it's by a witch named Shia. Now, the article specifically mentions that Shia was turned evil, which gives me the impression that she might be working for someone else, so Ganon could still very well be behind the kidnapping. Unfortunately, that's all we know right now of this story. However, that's not all we have to talk about. The magazine scans from Famitsu contained plenty of screenshots and in-game renders of the characters. Let's start by taking a look at Shia. From what we know, she seems to be the most likely of these characters to be the main antagonist of this game. Her design is also drastically different from what we are used to seeing in a Nintendo Zelda game. But this is no doubt Team Ninja's influence on the game's character design. As you can see in several of these screenshots, Shia appears to be standing in front of some sort of portal. Now, I do have an idea what this could be used for, or rather, where it would go, but we'll get into that a little bit later. For now, let's take a look at another enemy character. The translation on his name is up in the air right now, but I'm going to assume the correct translation is Volga, because if you look closely at his design, specifically his helmet, you can see that it looks very similar to Volvagia's face, the lava dragon from Ocarina of Time. What I find interesting about this character is that he uses a giant club or staff-looking weapon, and if I had to guess, he could be a reoccurring boss battle. The reason I say this is because in the screenshots he appears in, several of the backgrounds are different, so we might be bumping into this guy a lot throughout the entire game. Anyway, enough about him. Let's take a look at the last detail enemy that was in the Famitsu Magazine scan. This, what I'm going to call a Poe, goes by the name of Wizuru. Information was rather scarce when it came to this character, so really, there isn't much to say. If I had to take a shot in the dark at what his role in the game would be, I would probably just assume that he's going to take on the role of a boss. As far as other enemies go, of course you have your moblins and the such. Now, it's worth mentioning that all of these enemies seem to resemble the Skyward Sword version of themselves, which makes sense because from one of the screenshots taken from the website, it does look like the Skyward Strike will be a returning move in this game. Enough about the bad guys though, let's switch gears and talk about some of the good guys, starting with Impa. As you can see, Impa's design is similar to her Skyward Sword counterpart, but even cooler, especially with that scar on her face. What I like most about her character is the fact that she seems to be using a very large broadsword, and because this game is based off of Dynasty Warriors, I'm going to assume that Impa is going to play very different from Link. Perhaps she will be a slower attacker, but her attacks will do more damage. Dynasty Warriors is also known for having special movesets for each of the characters, and that mechanic does seem to be prevalent in this game as well, because in several screenshots, you can see Impa using moves that relate more to her character. Alright, I've made you wait long enough. Let's finally talk about Link. Link's design looks like how you would expect it to, with the addition of the blue scarf, of course. However, I don't think he will start out looking this way. We already know from the story that Link is a soldier in training, and that is further proven in one of the screenshots where Link is sparring off with another soldier. You'll notice that he isn't dressed in his normal green tunic in this screenshot. Several other screenshots also have Link dressed in a white tunic that resemble the ones the normal soldiers are wearing. However, this could just be an alternate costume, as it's already been confirmed that at least 6 different character costumes exist. The reason I say this is because in one particular screenshot, you can see Link in his white tunic with the Triforce of Courage on his hand. And any Zelda fan can tell you that Link usually doesn't get the Triforce of Courage until very late into the game. Speaking of the Triforce, it does seem to play a role in the way that Link fights in this game. From a few screenshots, you can see Link's hand glowing yellow, or emitting some form of energy wave. Link also has his own special move, which has him standing tall, thrusting his sword into the air, creating a sphere around him that seems to expand and push enemies away. Now, it is worth mentioning that Link and Impa won't be the only 2 playable characters. There will be several other characters to play as, so many in fact, Anuma himself was surprised at just how many there were. These characters aren't just for the single player either, as the game will feature a multiplayer mode in which one user will play on the gamepad and the other off the TV. Lastly, let's take a look at some other miscellaneous screenshots from the website. There are some very gorgeous landscape shots of Hyrule Castle, the inside of what I'm going to assume is a Great Fairies Fountain, and Hyrule Field. Then there are 3 shots which are in a dark and evil looking place. This could be one of the final areas of the game. From a piece of promotional artwork, you can see that there is a giant landmass falling out of some dark clouds in the sky. And this is where my portal theory that I mentioned earlier comes into play. I wouldn't be surprised if portals like the one Shia is standing in front of appear throughout the entire game to transport you between these 2 worlds. Of course, that's just a theory. One other thing that I noticed in a few of the screenshots is a mysterious pillar with a red diamond in the center. If I had to guess, these are what enemies will spawn from, but who really knows? I'm sure we will get plenty more info on this game after E3, and when it releases in Japan on August 14th. Until then, that's about all I have to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this Hyrule Warriors news update video. If you did, hit that like button to let me know, and maybe I'll make more of these in the future. As for now, once again guys, my name is Matt, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.